CEO Joe, it's your host and coach Rebecca Nesbitt, and this is the third of our three-part series in travel. I know that a lot of female entrepreneurs, we aspire to be able to have a business that we can pick up and we can run from anywhere in the world, or we aspire to have that option to have extended travel with our families. And if we have to take one call, it's okay. We can deal with that. So if that is you, then this has been a series for you. Please head back and check out episodes 1 and 2 of this series. So the first was a run through of the airport. So everything that you need to know and need to think about before you travel by air. And the second was all of the mistakes I've made in planning travel. And I'm sure to make more of them, but I hope that you can learn from my reflections and use it as your foresight going into travel for yourself in the future. And today is all about first class. It's all about life in first class. I have traveled first class a grand total of 1 times. So clearly I feel like I'm an expert, and I'm kidding. I wanted to share with you some of the things that I recognized in first class that were really different and give you that kind of play-by-play experience. I feel like traveling first class was something I wanted to do for the longest time. It's on every one of my vision boards. So I wanted to share the experience with all of you, make it a little bit sweeter, and also give you almost like a visualization of what to expect and things to note. So I spent my trip in first class the whole time being really grateful to be there. So first of all, my husband's the coolest guy in the world. And if you think I'm cool, you have not met him yet. He is so amazing. And he upgraded us to first class as a surprise to me, which was the kindest thing. And I was so grateful to him because I think that, there have been points of many of our lives where we've had partners that are undesirable and we'd certainly never have thought to do something like that for you. So first of all, I was grateful for my husband. I was grateful for my husband being there. I was grateful for being in first class, which was really cool. And I also was just really grateful is the only word that I can think that I was really feeling overwhelmed by, because I think that sometimes there's a part of us that doesn't believe that it's possible. And it's really important to touch your dreams sometimes. And this was a moment where I got to touch mine, and it was really, really cool. And it was more than I imagined. So things that I learned from first class. One is that you get space to do the work. Oh my Lord. Like, let's just be so excited about that. Not just extra leg room. No, it was not like a pull down little tray table that's so small you can't even put your laptop on it. No, this experience, you pulled the tray table out from the side of the seat and it went across your lap, and it was like laptop size. And you could have your water and a snack, and it was amazing. And oh, it was just so good. It was so good. And it makes you want to do the work. And this is where it gets really into the mindset of things, is that I think it's important to touch your dreams, but I also think that it's important that you're in an environment that makes you feel productive. And I think I always had this vision of, if I was ever on a first class flight, I was going to get so much work done. So it was a space that made me want to do the work. So somewhere else that they actually use this very specific technique of making things uncomfortable, because economy is like decently uncomfortable. They just want to cram as many people in planes as they can so that they can make as much money as possible. And hey, scalability, I completely understand. I'm just saying that first class is very different, and it's because they want it to be. They want you to upgrade and spend more money. Of course they do, they're a business. So that makes complete sense. And somewhere else that I saw this done was, there's a restaurant in the UK called Jimmy Chung's. I don't know if it's still active and if it's still open, but it's like an all-you-can-eat Chinese. And I went there once, and the person I went with explained to me, because they were like, I'm going to eat like 10 plates of food. And I was like, okay, I'm going to have like 2 plates of food. Like, they have a good spring roll. I'm here for that. And they said, no, I am going to sit in these uncomfortable chairs in this uncomfortable lighting and eat like 10 plates of food because that's why this restaurant is that way. And I was like, what? And they were like, they make it deliberately dark so that it's kind of like sleepy and a little uncomfortable. They make the chairs uncomfortable so that it's uncomfortable. You don't want to stay there for that long. So even while you're eating, you're uncomfortable. So essentially, you don't eat as much. So you pay money, but they're probably making more money than you would assume from an all-you-can-eat restaurant. I mean, if it was all you eat and it was in a beautiful location, you could sit there all day, you would. So it makes complete sense. But something that I learned is that airlines are very similar to that. It's like you can be like all cramped in economy and trying to do your work, or you can upgrade and you can do your work in an environment that actually makes you excited to do it. You're comfortable, the chair is bigger, you have more space for your elbows. Like there's just something really powerful about very small, it seems like small margins of space, but what they do with it is really important. So like as a business model, oh my gosh, I was like genius. Something else I learned that was more desirable in first class, I could actually hear the pilot. What? I have never been able to hear the pilot before. The intercoms are always like really crackly, but I did not realize that that is the further back you get in the plane, the less like you are to hear that intercom. So it was like clear as day when he was telling us what the weather was and why we were having to fly higher because there was turbulence. And I was just listening to him and I was like, oh yeah, that makes complete sense. Yeah, I get it. I get it. I know it seems silly, but when your life is in the hands of someone, aka the pilot, it's kind of nice to hear what they're saying. It's kind of nice to understand where the turbulence is coming from and what they're trying to do to fix it. And that just made it a better experience, more enjoyable. If you're someone that's nervous of flying, I am not personally. I love flying. I like turbulence. I'm like, it's like a free day at Disneyland, but not everyone's like that. If you're someone nervous of flying, first class is great because you can actually just hear what the pilot's saying. It's really nice. So the next thing that I learned in first class was there is, when you get off first class, no queue for the restroom. You don't have to line up. Like I said in a previous episode of this series, I was like, I like to not go to the restroom on the plane, personally. That's just my thing. I think that they're very claustrophobic and small, and I'll go if I have to, but I prefer to wait until I get off the plane on the other end. So that's what I did. And usually you then get stuck in the queue of people that have done the exact same thing, so I know I'm not alone. And there was no queue when I went into the stall. When I came out of the stall, oh, the queue's so long because first class is at the front of the plane. So yes, you are asked to board first. You don't have to. They keep your line open for you. They keep that kind of like, I think that, what did they call it? Zone 1 is what they called it for us. They keep that zone 1 open. So if you want to be the last person on the plane, you can be. You can rock up anytime and you get to the front of the queue. Ooh, that's nice. And then you're sitting at the front of the plane. So there's no like people that you have to wait for when you're getting on the plane. And then when you get off the plane, you're first off. And if we had baggage, but if we didn't have baggage, we would have just gone to the restroom, straight out the door, would have taken 5 minutes. Oh my gosh. So it's another little unsung hero tip of first class. And I think that those were just fun things that you might not have thought of, that I certainly didn't until I was in first class. And I was like, hey, this is cool. But I think that the great thing that it gave me was it was the ability, and I'm going to say again, to touch that dream. And we cannot yet afford first class on every flight. We travel a lot, and we also travel to the UK. Our last flights to the UK cost like $3,500 just for economy. So we are not dedicating our funds, if you want to be like very pernickety about financial language, we're not yet dedicating our funds to flying first class on every flight, but where we can, we will. And for these particular reasons, one is the mindset upgrade of touching the dream. That's huge. That's probably like, if I didn't get anything else out of it, that was a gift. The second is it's better for our bodies. So something that is not spoken about enough is how the world is not set up for correct spinal alignment. It's just not. And especially in those economy seats where you're crunched in, it's really not. And I know that you've probably heard when you're on a flight, you should get up, you should move around a lot. Now, I like to just sit in my seat and not move. Like I just get like very like in my zone, in my cocoon, and don't like to get up and walk around and move. Some people like to get up and walk around and move. That's totally up to you. But every time we travel, we have to take like lumbar rollers and things that will help our posture. So when we get off the flight on the other end, we're not like, ooh, like this hurts. So the thing about being in first class was the chair was just bigger and there was just more space. I could move a little bit more in my seat, and that was just really desirable. So it really helps us on the other end. And I'm someone that's suffered a lot with chronic pain and back injury and challenges in the past. And I do a lot of conscious work every single day. Like this is my consistent and frequent all the time practice is I will do like neck retractions that were prescribed to me, if you want to use that word, by my physical therapist twice a day. Do not miss them. Do not miss them. And it's because of all the challenges that I've had to face. So then when I'm given an opportunity to do something better for my body, I'm going to do it. So that was another reason that we will where we can. And the third reason is how productive you can be when your mindset is on point and you're not connected to the internet, because we chose not to connect to the internet. And I don't love doing that on flights. Maybe I've said that before in a previous episode, but how productive you can be if you are in a confined space where there's nothing else to distract you is quite magical. I did so much on this flight, from writing emails to creating this entire series was a brainchild of the flight itself. To what else did I do? I started planning some socials. I wrote an entire agenda for a group session, like so many things. So it's absolutely worth it. If you're not there yet, how can you touch the dream is the question I would ask. How can you touch the dream? Is there a shorter flight that you can go on, that you are going on, that you get an opportunity last minute to upgrade? They haven't filled the spaces, they've halved off the first class, and you see it and you're like, do you know what? Maybe I will just this one time and see what it's like, because it was a really enjoyable and magical experience. Like it's a very privileged experience too, and something that is really on my heart and is a desire that I have is that one day the CEO crowd will have the CEO crowd first class, where we will do first class retreats, where you will take a first class seat to our retreat, and it will be such a first class experience overall. It's just going to be the coolest thing. Because something I notice being on so many flights and walking past first class all the time is there are not enough women. There aren't. I have 100% been on flights where the whole entirety of first class has been men. I've never been on one flight where it's all women, not one. And I just think it'd be really cool if one day we can make that happen. And this experience was the start of touching that dream. I sat there and I visualized and I listened to Long Live by Taylor Swift because that's like my business theme song. And I just thought, imagine this first class was all of our women that are in our CEO Crowd membership, the women that are coming to us. Maybe you want to be there, you're welcome. Imagine it was all of us. And imagine a little girl. We're gonna like get choked up, but imagine like a little girl walking through that and the impact that that could have. Or imagine the 30-year-old entrepreneur that's at the beginning that walks through that. How powerful that would be. I just see I don't even know what words to give it, like a more powerful more equal, fair version of our world. And I think that sometimes there should be flights that the first class is all women. And I want to be a part of creating that, but you can't be a part of creating it if you've never experienced it. So really, from that time I traveled first class, I hope what you took from it was, what are the dreams that you need to figure out how to touch right now? Whether it is getting yourself on a first class flight, or whether it is standing on a stage, or whether it's writing the damn book, whatever is on your heart and soul to do right now, there is someone that is going to be so inspired by that one day. And it might not be tomorrow, but it's going to be worth it. That was what I learned in first class. So with that, that's the end of our travel series. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you're looking for a place to ask those like crazy questions about, should I have a soft shell case or a hard shell case when I go to the airport? Or if it's a question about, how do I make this dream happen for myself? How do I touch this vision? The simplest questions, the most complex questions, if you don't have like a group of ride or die female entrepreneur friends and you need one, then we would love to invite you to be a part of ours. So you can either join our membership directly, and we'd love to see you there. You'll get an onboarding call with me. We'll blow up your vision. We'll get you clear on your next steps, and you will be integrated our community, with a snap of fingers, and you will be loved on so hard and supported. Or if you're not ready for that yet, that's totally cool. If you want to just come check out the vibe. And I know that sometimes you can speak for one person, like on this show, it's predominantly me speaking, but maybe you want to know, who are the people that are being attracted to this? Who are the people that are part of it? Then please come along to our CEO Crowd networking events. They're totally free. You can attend one a year totally for free. You can attend all of our quarterly events totally for free. And we'll send you opportunities every single week to your inbox of people that you could potentially help with your business. So all the links for that are in the description. And until next week, we'll be over here believing in you and believing in that big dream of yours.